Hello, good morning. It's Wednesday Wisdom, and we've got the beautiful Ali Sugas here on Women of Light. So if you're watching on the Facebook page, good morning. And if you're watching the replay, we'd love for you to put hashtag in there. If you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to see more of these interviews, please just put subscribe and hit the bell so you get to see when we're putting stuff in, because we put lots of stuff in there. Good morning, Ali. How are you?
Morning, Liz. I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm really good. It's Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week, and we got heaps going on. I've got my course starting. My Conscious Creator course starts on Monday of next week, so very exciting about that.
Awesome. How exciting for you. Yay.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about building, rediscovering confidence, right? After massive change.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's a really big topic for you, right? It's something we actually have only just recently touched base again. So, yeah. Ali, I know you through a beautiful business training that we did together. How long have we known each other? Nearly a year?
It is nearly a year,
yeah. So it's been a beautiful journey. I love catching up with you every so often when we have had the chance. And just recently I saw a Facebook Live that you did, and I loved it so much that I shared it onto my Women of Light group, my Facebook group, which is what we're on now. So if you get the opportunity, jump in and check out what Ali put in there, because it was when you're in the middle of being triggered, right?
Oh, it was pretty raw. It was very raw and very emotional.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it at all. I'm actually proud of myself for doing it, but yeah, it was raw.
Yeah. I loved it so much I had to share it, because it definitely had a huge message in there. So let's just jump back a little bit. Let's look at, what is it that has called you to support women to build their confidence? Because you've had a bit of a story of your own, right?
Oh, honey, I've had a journey.
Yeah.
And we've only got, 30 minutes or so. So my journey itself spans over 25, 30 years. So to condense it for you, to help you all understand where I come from. When I was 16, I was sexually abused by my first boyfriend. My first marriage, we had a lot going on, and because of the stress that we had going on, my husband was on drugs, and I didn't know it at the time, but I had postnatal depression. But that relationship turned very domestically violent very quickly. My parents helped get me out of that, and me and the children. Well, I had 2 young children at the time, so they, thank goodness, helped remove me from that situation. But I wasn't, after those experiences, I wasn't seeing myself as a whole, as an individual person. I will say I still had the thought and the frame of mind that to be a complete person, I had to have a man in my life. Yeah. And I had to, it was like I had to provide my children with a father figure within the household. They already had so many women, but it was because I had lost my confidence because of what I'd gone through. But after, and I actually got married a second time for the wrong reasons, because I wanted to try and fulfill those, what I thought were empty spaces in my life. Now, because of that marriage didn't last very long either. That was quite abusive in its own right. This time,
and isn't it just to jump in there? Isn't it until we change and shift those things within us, those patterns, then we're going to keep that pattern going over and over again, because mine's the opposite side of the spectrum of that, because I know so many women that just went into relationships because they couldn't be by themselves. And for me, my thing was, because I was raised by a powerful woman, my dad was sick. For me, it was I had to be strong and powerful, and I didn't need a man.
Right. Ah, there you go. That's the opposite.
Yeah. And so, well, it took me like I'm 49 now. It took me 47, 48 years before I actually realized I was repelling men, because even though I'm very gentle and feminine, I wouldn't allow that part of me, that because I saw that as too vulnerable to show that part of me to a man.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, like, yeah. Keep going. So,
right.
you know, like it can be on either side, right?
I do. And I actually say I did, after my second marriage, I kind of went into that space for a little while as well.
Yeah.
It was like, no, but that wasn't, it was really because that after my second marriage is when I came to that conclusion that I need to find out who Ali is. I need to find my independent, amazing, incredible self to learn who I am as a person. And that was kind of when I went so independent for a little while, you know, that like you're saying, I was pushing everybody else away.
Yeah.
Without meaning to, but it was because
it's
I was
unconscious.
It's unconscious, but I was very, very self-protective.
Yeah.
And
can we just go back a little bit, because
sure.
Something that you jumped over, and I don't know if you're going to go back to it yourself anyway, but let's just go back to the 16-year-old that got abused by her boyfriend, right? Now, because somehow it started before that, but that was a pivotal moment. And sometimes, you know, like we can even go, well, you know, how come you were sexually abused when you were actually in a relationship with him? You know, like, people don't see, if you're, and some women, it's still something that we all know it, but we still need to readdress it, that if you're not comfortable in a situation and you want to say no, but you're doing it because you want to please someone.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And with that, I will say that that particular relationship, I didn't understand it for what it was until only a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I will go back to it if that's okay.
Yeah.
In a minute, but I want to say, you know, and this is actually mainly what my live was all about the other day, is the fact that I have also recently been through bullying and sexual harassment in the workplace. Now, that experience in itself, recovering from PTSD, anxiety, depression, is what has brought me to do what I'm doing.
The work you're doing. Yeah.
To what has brought me to come and speak up and out for those who can't do it. But that experience and recovering from that, when I was lying, you know, I was lying there one day and I was thinking over all the stuff that I've been through. That was when I went back to my 16-year-old self and went, hang on a minute, oh my goodness. And it dawned on me all of a sudden that was not my first marriage, but that was my first experience of abuse. And I went back further and it was like, why did that happen? And it was a subconscious thing in me, as a natural people pleaser, to want to say and do the right things to keep this person happy.
Yeah.
And I didn't, at 16 years old, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So when
we're not given the tools, right?
No, we're not. No.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, you know, like I had a great upbringing. My parents treated me really well. I love my parents dearly. But it's just that we're not given that training. And yeah, and I kind of, when I came to that realization that, oh my goodness, that was quite a sexually abusive relationship, it was, in a strange way, everything fell into place.
Yeah.
Why, you know, I had kept attracting these certain people into my life.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because like I just recently, like, not only did I share your live on here, and I told you about how I had just recently done a live on here about ownership of your body, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Through something as little as not little, because it was a major experience. One of my clients is having to make the decision whether to have her breast removed.
Wow.
Just been on this huge journey of an 8-centimeter tumor.
Wow.
That's completely gone. We've been working on it, completely gone. And they still want to remove her breast.
Wow.
And so went into this fear of, you know, like all the stuff, right? Now, what her journey is up to her. And that's what we had to work through, because sometimes you resist that as well, right? Like she's got to make the decision from her place of, is this my journey? Because it might be to have her breast removed, or is it my journey not to have my breast removed, right? And but it's the same thing as what we're talking about here, taking the opportunity, like responsibility and ownership of your body, and allowing yourself to make that decision, not outside of yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
And if something's not feeling okay, that's okay to say, hey, it's not feeling okay. I need to stop. I need to breathe out. I need to process this and work out why. And maybe I'll come back to you in a minute. Just let me have some time, you know, like, and that's freaking okay. Because we've got generations of historical narratives of ridicule and abuse and you know, like suppression, like oppression and suppression, and like the whole submissiveness, all of that stuff that we've got to work out, that's in ourselves, right? Not just in our personal experience, but it's in the cells of women, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And so, you know, like here we are, you know, in a, you know, rebuilding confidence. So when you've had a challenging experience, so how would you sort of speak to women about that? You know, obviously you do this for work, you know, it's something that you do, and you create that process with women. But what would you suggest if some woman's just listening now and having a light bulb moment? What would you suggest?
First of all, I'm going to say to anyone who might be listening or watching this now, who is in a place of, you know, where they feel like they might have lost their identity, you know, because they've got, and they have no lack of confidence because of that. I just want to just send you love and say that you are not alone. There are a lot of us out there, and it is possible to bring yourself back into that confident place. I'm someone, as I said before, who has suffered PTSD, anxiety, depression. I was suicidal. I don't like saying that, but I have to say it for what it is.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that you beautiful ladies, you are not alone. And I truly believe, you know, it's not an easy thing to do, but we need to get to a place where we want to get the help, you know. It's one thing, and we also want and know that we want to do the work as well. Now, you know, it's one thing to say that, to know that we need the help, but if we just sit back and wait for it to come to us, unfortunately, most of the time it won't, because unless we you know, go out and tell people and ask for that help, wherever that might be, whether it might be someone like you, someone like me, a counsellor, a psychologist, ringing 1-800-RESPECT, whoever it is, asking for that help is going to get you on that process of rediscovering your confidence, all right, whatever the change is. So there's a difference between knowing that you need the help and wanting to do something about it.
And taking that action, because, oh my gosh, that's such a huge step, isn't it? When you're in that oppressive state, that very first step is the hardest. It's the biggest.
Absolutely.
It's the biggest to jump over, and it's the scariest. Yeah,
it is the scariest. But once it's how do I describe it? Once you do it, it's like a massive sense of relief.
Liberating. Yeah.
Liberating. Thank you. That is a good word. Yes. You know, you go, oh my goodness, thank God there are people there, you know, who understand me, who are out there to help me. The other thing I want to say is that understand that when you are on this journey, it's not going to happen all at once. Whoever you go to for help is going to work alongside you at your own pace, because everybody's different. You know? I know when me, I mean, unfortunately for me, I did it mostly alone.
Yeah. Same here. And until you work out, like, you know, and I've said this a number of times, it's only been in the last couple of years that I've realized the importance of a mentor or a coach, and how much that can accelerate you. Like, if I'd known prior, oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
Totally understand. I mean, I hired a coach to help me with some emotional issues that I was having. I hired her last year to help me. And I'd never, you know, ironically, I mean, I'm a coach myself, but I had never hired a coach to get help. When I did, that was actually when I realized the full importance of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because she helped me so much in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
And it was incredible, you know. And I went back to that stage of like, why did I, and it was kind of like, how did I do this alone? It would have been so much easier.
I know, it's hard to go back, right, and go, what were the steps that I actually took? Yeah. Because sometimes they were over years, because doing it by yourself. Like, I remember, you know, just talking that very first step, I remember a specific time, the fear of separating from my ex, you know, like separating and making that decision to not be in that relationship anymore.
Yeah.
The fear of it. And actually, because I was so young, going through the process of actually lying to myself, as well as him, as well as everyone else, to counteract that fear, because it was, I didn't know what was on the other side. You know, I look back and, you know, like, because lying to me now is such a freaky vibration that I don't do it. Like, vibrationally, it stuffs up my system, right? Like, you can't live a pure vibrational woman of light space and be a liar, or, you know, like, deceive yourself or others.
Yeah.
However, well, back then, that was one of the ways that my coping mechanism to actually pull myself out of that situation.
See, that's interesting, Liz, actually, because when I was in my first marriage, my parents brought me up as a Christian, and I'm still a Christian now. So we had a very, strong. I had very strong beliefs, and I was attending church at the time. Now, keep in mind too that, you know, divorce is seen as a sin, but I was in a domestically violent relationship that very few people knew about. So I describe it as, the happier I presented myself to the world, the reality of it is I was overcompensating, because when the happier I presented myself, the worse I felt inside. I was crushed. But
that's the deceit, right?
It is the deceit, but I didn't feel that I almost had the right to let anybody know.
Yeah.
Because I was scared of the judgment of what other people might think within my circle. Even my parents, they were very supportive.
But you'd failed.
But that I had failed as a wife, as a mother, as a woman, as a Christian, as all these things. But it just got to a point where, you know, and that was the point. That was one point in my life where I just said, you know, enough is enough. I've got two beautiful children I need to look after. And I need to look after myself before I can look after them. So that was really a point of self-awareness for me, and I had to break through that. Almost you could call it self-deceit, but that sounds harsh, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it is, right? And isn't it interesting? I'm just sitting here having one of those moments of how ironic it is that us women, we're so supportive and selfless and so serving of others. I was in exactly the same position. I'd been in a relationship for 10 years. It was the last 3 that I had children. And it was those years that I finally left. And it was because, we just lost you for a second.
Sorry, I don't know why.
It's okay. Hopefully it wasn't on Facebook. It was those last three that having children actually created that pivotal moment of, I can't do this with my kids, that I need to change the way I'm living and the way I'm being treated and all that sort of stuff because of the children. Yep. So for all those women that don't have that third party to look after, I really feel for you, because that really, having to make that decision for yourself instead of looking outside and saying, I've got kids, I can't do that. That must be way harder. And coming from, I've got to get out of this because it's not good for me. Instead of that self-sabotage, that because like the shame, what you were just saying, like all the shame that comes with it. And so, when you make a huge change, we've got these blinkers, we don't see what's behind us. And that's why having someone to support us through the process is so pivotal to the whole process, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so, it's after that decision. It's not, there's bravery, and I think the bravery and confidence are very different. I think that you have to be brave to make that first decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, you can build the confidence. Would you agree?
I would. And, that's interesting you say the word bravery. For me, and I work with a lot of people, a lot of women who have maybe come through similar things to me, obviously, like the domestic violence. Now, I understand that that's not everybody, but, and I always say to them, give yourself credit for what you have already survived, for what you have already come through.
We're strong.
The fact that you have survived something like that and you're still here to talk about it, and now the fact that you have made a decision to come and talk to me or whoever it is, that is strength in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing to admit when you do need help in this area. And it was actually interesting, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this up, but I was watching the interview with Meghan and Harry last night, and I don't want to get political and provide opinions on that or anything, but I was watching her when she was saying, talking about the mental health issues that she had, and I felt for her, not being able to, feeling that she when she asked for help, she couldn't get it, and I've forgotten where I was going with that, but never mind.
Well, it's really interesting that you brought it up. So I don't watch TV, right? I don't know, but in saying that, I was scrolling, which I don't do very often. I was scrolling on Facebook, and I saw a friend's thing about Harry and Meghan, and is it Meghan? Yeah. And the image was this little boy. It just really hit me. It was this little boy at his mum's funeral, and William is looking down at him, like making sure he's okay, and he's in shock. You can just see it, right? Yeah. And what she had written was, all these opinions, and I'm unaware of what's going on in this world, but not of it. So one of my challenges can be that I what's going on in the world, sort of thing. In one way, is a good thing. In one way, is like then you're not aware of what's actually happening out there. But what you were saying was, here's this. I want everyone to remember what happened to him as a little boy and what he had to go through seeing his mum, and then he had to go through the whole thing again when like there was more come up when he was an adult, and now he's seeing the same thing happening to his wife. And so it was really like, it was a great, I actually commented on it because it was a great post, and You know, we're all so quick to make judgments of people's outside, what we see from the outside, right?
That's
And
right. Yeah.
we need to spend more time being aware that people are going through stuff, all
That's
of us.
right. Yeah. And I think where I was going that was somewhere along the lines of stigma of mental health, but I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Sure,
No, well, it's so true, right? There's so much stigma. We've all got to be brave. We've all got to be strong. We've all got to be resilient. If we're not, then, you know, the being vulnerable is a weakness, all of these things, and it's actually not true. To be vulnerable, I've got to tell you, I've now got a new guy in my life for the first time in ages, like through the process of just doing some healing around men in general, like just the stuff that I do. And finally met this really beautiful man, and really comfortable with being vulnerable with him, which is so good because he holds space really, really well for that. So, you know, if I can find a man, which, you know, I've had people say to me, oh, as light workers, as healers, you know, we're not meant to be in a relationship. And I'm like, I remember that was years and years ago. A psychologist told me that.
Wow.
And I constantly had to say, whenever I thought about it, I used to have to cancel that, because that's not my reality, you know. And so if I can find someone when I'm, you know, a little bit out there with the stuff that I do, then anyone can find someone. So, well, we hear that all the time, right?
Exactly. And can I share my happy ending with you all? As in, like, relationship wise, I have now been with mine. I call him my third time lucky man. We've now been living together for nearly 7 years. We've been together for 9 years, and he supports me in everything I do. He's just, I can't say enough. He's just a gorgeous guy.
That is awesome.
I am so proud to say that, you know, that love has now come into my life the way I deserve, and the
absolutely
way he deserves. So yeah.
And so, you know, like, just to bring some of my stuff in just at the end, that's because there's a vibrational shift in you that you know, those elements of vibration that lowered your vibration in, you know, the belief systems, the limiting beliefs of not enough, not good enough, insignificant, all of those things were in your vibration. So therefore would attract, that's what, you know, we as women, we are attracting people that are going to keep us in those sabotaging beliefs. And yet when you can lift yourself up from that, that's when you find those beautiful men that are there to love and support a real woman, because we're all real women. We just got to find ourselves underneath all that baggage, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, I've loved talking to you, Ellie.
I could talk for hours.
I know. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, how do they go about that?
So I will, if it's okay, after this, I'll pop my Linktree link in there, which will take you to all of my socials, and you can pick and choose where you'd like to follow me.
Absolutely. That's excellent.
Yeah, I would love to. If you would like to have a chat, I would love to offer a free confidence booster 30-minute call that you can just come and talk to me, talk where you're at, and, you know, we'll go from there. But yeah, I'd love to put the invitation out there to anyone watching. So I'll pop those links in after this, if that's okay.
That's fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ali. Loved talking to you. We've started doing, or we're going to start, I've just put it out yesterday, a women's gathering circle on this page, right? So what we're doing is that it's going to be, I'm looking at maybe doing, I don't want to structure, I just want to see how it flows. So maybe once a month with a different topic each time. So this month we're doing what it's like to be a woman of light and be a daughter or a sister. And so it's going to be a discussion with all of us. It's not like, I've got a few people that I've got in mind to come and sort of have this loose structure, like sort of a bit of expert in their field, but not as a panel, just as sort of give us a little bit of education, motivation, you know, inspire us in a way. But everyone gets a chance to sort of talk. And I was looking at doing something similar next month, with being confident and, you know, all of those things. So I'd love for you to be one of our little expert wise women to hold the space for other women, because it's gathering that I want everyone to be able to talk and share their ideas and share their challenges and just hold space for each other, you know, like not having me talking at people or, you know, the other way, you know, other people doing the same, just for us all to actually get together as women on Zoom so that we can all share. So I'd love for you to be on the one for next month, if that works for you.
Oh, yeah, I'm there, girlfriend.
Absolutely awesome. So, ladies, if you see the gathering, women's gathering on this page, jump in and have a look at it. It's going to be the first one this month. We'll have Ali on the next one. I'd definitely love for you to come, because you're a daughter as well. Love for you to come to the first one we've got.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll see you on the next one as well. So take care, everyone, and enjoy your Wednesday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Liz.